Oh, oh, you mean it's also online?
Online.
On Facebook or YouTube? Okay, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dilayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nigamakalpa Tarorgaritam Param Shuka Mukadam Ritadravya Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraha Rasikabo Vibhavukaha. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're continuing from the Bhagavatam. First of all, I want to thank the devotee for asking me to speak, and I'm seeking your blessing to say something relevant, inspiring also. Please. I'm not qualified to do so. Okay, so we're reading the 43rd chapter today, 10th canto. And this is called Krishna Kills the Elephant Kuvalaya Pid. So we'll read the summary, correct, of the chapter. So last chapter was the breaking of the bow. And the last chapter ended where the wrestling match was about to take place, and so all the spectators came and took their seat, and King Kamsa was also there, and we heard how Krishna came to Mathura with Balaram, and the last chapter was how he broke the bow that was kept there, which was known to be the bow of Lord Shiva, I believe. And it had to be carried by 300 men, but Krishna broke it as easily as a elephant breaks a sugar cane. Okay, so that's the story from last chapter. So now the match is about to happen, and the two brothers are on their way to the wrestling arena. So this is the summary of the chapter 43. This chapter tells how Lord Krishna killed the lordly elephant Kuvalayapid, how Krishna and Balaram entered the wrestling arena, and what Krishna said to the wrestler Chanura. After finishing their early morning rituals, Krishna and Balaram heard kettle drums heralding the start of the wrestling match, and they went to see the festivities. At the gate of the wrestling arena, they encountered an elephant named Kuvalayapid who attacked Krishna at the urging of his keeper. The mighty elephant grabbed at Krishna with his trunk, but the Lord struck back and then disappeared from the beast's sight among his legs. Enraged at not being able to see Krishna, Kuvalayapid sought him out with his sense of smell and seized him. But the Lord pulled loose. In this way, Krishna teased and tormented Kuvalayapid, finally yanking out one of his tusks and beating him and his keepers to death. Sprinkled with the elephant's blood and carrying one of his tusks on his shoulder as a weapon, Lord Krishna appeared unprecedentedly beautiful as he entered the wrestling arena. There the various classes of people saw him in different ways according to their specific relationship with him. This is a very famous verse about this instance. When King Kamsa heard how Krishna and Balaram had killed Kuvalayapid, he realized they were invincible and became filled with anxiety. The members of the audience, on the other hand, became joyful as they reminded one another about the Lord's amazing pastimes. The people declared that Krishna and Balaram must be two expansions of the Supreme Lord Narayan, who had descended into the house of Vasudeva. Chanura then stepped forward and challenged Krishna and Balaram to wrestle, saying King Kamsa wished to see such a match. Krishna replied, "Although we are merely nomadic forest folk, we are nonetheless subjects of the king. Thus, we will not hesitate to please him with an exhibition of wrestling." As soon as Chanura heard this, he suggested that Krishna should wrestle him and that Balaram should wrestle Mushtik. So this is text 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Socho Parantapa Maladundubi Nirgosham Shrutvadrashtum Upeyatu. Sri Sukha Uvacha Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Sucho Parantapa Maladundubi Nirgosham Shrutvadrashtum Upeyatu. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Socho Parantapa Maladundubi Nirgosham Shudvadrashtum Upeyatu. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Socho Parantapa Maladundubi Nirgosham Shudvadashtum Upeyatu. So please repeat. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Ata, next, Krishna, Cha, and Rama, Balaram, Cha, also, Krita, having carried out, Socho, purification, Parantapa, O chastiser of enemies, Mala, of the wrestling match, Dundubhi, of the kettle drums, Nirgosham, the resounding vibration, Shrudva, hearing, Drashtum, to see, Upeyatuhu, they approached. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada and his followers. Again? We just read it. Yeah. Chapter 43, right? Yeah, we just read the summary. Yeah, it's okay? So now, translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Ki Prabhupada Ki. Translation, Shukadeva Goswami said, O chastiser of enemies, Krishna and Balaram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena, and they went to see what was happening. Translate. So please repeat. Shukadeva Goswami said, O chastiser of enemies, Krishna and Balaram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena, and they went there to see what was happening. So, purport. Sridhar Swami explains the word krita socho, quote, having executed all necessary purification as follows, quote, 2 days previously, Krishna and Balaram had executed their purification, their relief from offense, by performing heroic deeds. The Lord reasoned, even after we have made our power known by breaking the bow and by performing other feats, our parents have still not secured freedom. Kamsa is again trying to kill them. Therefore, although he is our maternal uncle, it will not be wrong for us to kill him. Unquote. They assured their offenselessness by this reasoning. Omaganatimidandasya gananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Shri Chaitanya manobishtam stavitam yena bhutale sayam rupa kadamayam dadadisa padantikam vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadala Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam rangayate girim yat kripa tamam vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So again, she takes one. Shri Shuka uvacha atta krishnascha ramascha krita socho parantapa maladundubi nirgosham shudvadashum upeyatu. Shukadev Goswami said, O chastiser of enemies, Krishna and Balaram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena, and they went there to see what was happening. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. So, yeah, again, I want to thank the devotees for having asked me to say something. So, we are seeking your blessing so we can speak. Of course, 10th canto we're reading now is the known as, what do you say? It is entitled the Summum Bonum, right? So it is the culmination of all the previous cantos, and it is known as the beautiful smiling face of Krishna, the son of the king of Raj. And all the, as you know, all the parts of the Bhagavatam I've described as the body, parts of Krishna's transcendental body. So the two first canto are his lotus feet, and his legs are the third and fourth canto. Fifth canto is belly, and 6th and 7th, and I don't want to make it up, but his arms, I think. His chest, 8, neck, 9. So his beautiful smiling face is 10th canto. Now what Prabhupada has described earlier in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that unless one is on the Transcendental platform, he cannot discuss about the pastimes of Krishna. Okay, so that clearly disqualifies me, but I can tell you what I've heard from predecessors. Here, what we know, and Shukadev Goswami had full knowledge about this pastime, full memory. He was known to be, describing first canto, that he had maybe second canto, he had achieved full Krishna consciousness. And because of that, he was designated as the proper speaker of Bhagavatam. Although his father was there, although Narada Muni was there, and although all the greatest sages in the universe were there, he was undoubtedly selected to be the speaker of this Bhagavatam. Now what we see here is giving that narration to Parikshit Maharaj, who is inquiring very submissively. Parikshit Maharaj was also known as Mahabhagavat. Okay, so maybe not so easy to imagine that previously leaders of the world were fully developed devotees, and they had all the divine qualities. They had equal vision to all living beings, and they were self-realized souls. But on behalf of the Lord and their superiors, they would take charge of the world, not because of ambition, but because to show the right path to others. Now Parikshit Maharaj has shown perfect example here, that while he's just about to leave his body in few days, now we're coming to the end of Bhagavatam, he probably had 2 or 3 days left, not more. So probably most of us, we will be making all sorts of arrangement to protect our body somehow, no? We will go to the healer, doctor, we'll try to get away from the curse maybe. But he accepted it with open heart, and what he's showing is now he's showing utmost concern for what? For the sake of his soul. So he wants to know what is the real best use of his time and in attention. And he's such a personality. Sorry, I'm not really speaking about this verse, but I'm just want to put in scene. But he's such a personality that while Shukadeva Goswami started narrating the Leelas of Krishna, previously the previous cantos, they deal a lot with Sambandha Gyan, right? With philosophies, the actings of previous devotees who have done sadhana in history, talks about Purusha avatars, and all the others avatar I saw here. We have nice, paintings? 10 main avatar, right? So all of them are listed in Bhagavatam and more or less described. But Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo. That the Lord appeared in many times, but as Krishna is the Krishna Swayam Nanavatarama Karat Puvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo. The topmost personality. he was such a person, when he started narrating the Leela, he said, I cannot feel hunger anymore. I don't feel thirsty anymore. I don't feel like sleeping also. I didn't sleep for uh, for a week or so. So Prabhupada explained this is the perfect listener and the perfect speaker meeting together. So here, he said, Shukadev Goswami, he calls him, O chastiser of enemies. This verse, I mean, it's briefly spoken about. Most of these verses obviously are pastime. But here, what is interesting, Lord Krishna and Balaram, they had just entered Mathura, and we know some of their pastimes. They had spent the night in Mathura, and they had done their morning duty, which is called Krita Socho. They had purified themselves, which is ironic a little bit, because what is verse, Prabhu? From Ishopanishad, it says that the Lord is eternally pure. Apapa Viddam. You don't know? We don't have Isho here. Do you have it? If you can. But Apapa Viddam. The Lord is described as having two characteristics, which are antiseptic and prophylactic. Prabhupada translates like this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is not tinged by any impurity. He says in Bhagavad Gita, he explains that he exists above the modes of nature. So Tamaguna, Rajaguna cannot cover him. That means he's eternally pure, regardless of circumstances. And not only is eternally pure, he cannot be contaminated by anything. Prabhupada gave so many times example of the sun. So anything the sun is the ultimate source of all energy in the universe. And it gives life to everything. In order to approach sun, nobody can approach sun unless he acquires the quality of sun. That means if he becomes fire also. Right? So, in other words, as one comes in contact with Krishna, automatically and right away, he will become cleansed. Chetul Darpana Marjanam. Did you find? Yeah. Can you tell us, Prabhu, please? What's the verse, Prabhu? Can you tell us, please? Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't have my phone. Thank you. This is described in Sri Upanishad, if you allow me. This is verse number 8. Mantra number 8. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Goddess, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. So thank you. Yeah, the two words here are Shuddham. You know this word, Shuddham, pure. Here it says, Prabhupada says, antiseptic. Apapavidham, prophylactic. So, antiseptic means it purifies other things. Prophylactic means he cannot be contaminated himself. So then, there's no question Krishna will become impure by something. Rather, anything that comes in touch with him, no matter what, will become purified. And that's what we learn from Prabhupada's explanations in the Bhagavatam. Everything Krishna does is, do you need it back? Or everything Krishna does is good for everyone. Everybody, in other words, if he blesses someone, that is good for him. And if he kills someone, that is also good for him. Why? Whoever is killed by Krishna is sure to achieve liberation. He achieved liberation immediately. So that's how Krishna is absolute. He is all good. This is the meaning of God. God is a word from the German language, I believe. And now I forget exactly. You can look it up. But it means that the one who does good. Right? And so whatever he does is for everyone's benefit. And we know for the non-devotees, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, for example, there were millions of people, 640 millions, according to Mahabharata, present on the battlefield. And in the first canto, I wish I give you a reference, Prabhupada explained that simply because of his presence, and everyone had darshan of Krishna, in the beginning of the war, Krishna, on the order of Arjuna was probably prompted from his side, but he asked Krishna, what is the verse? Please bring my chariot. So everyone got darshan of Krishna, both sides, devotees and non-devotees. And Prabhupada explains in the chapter Passing of Bhishmadev that everyone present on that battlefield, because everybody left, everybody died, achieved not only liberation, but they achieved Svarup. That means they regained their constitutional position as a servitor of Krishna. So everything Krishna does is beneficial. Now, this material world, we might think, if we think in terms of duality, there's some inconvenience. There's some things we consider bad or good. This material world is also Krishna's doing, which is a perfect arrangement for the good of everyone. It said it is acting as his shadow, or the shadow of his potency. Srishti stiti pradaya sadhana sakti rekam chayeva yasya bhuvanani bibharti durga ikchanurupamapi yasya chachestate sa govindam adipurusham damaham bhajami. Durga Devi is exactly following the movements of Krishna's energy, just like the shadow follows the original. So this is a shadow form of his energy, and it is acting perfectly according to his plan, because Krishna, as the supreme well-wisher of all the living beings, he awards freedom to everyone, and so he creates a world, a situation where living beings can experience momentarily, or momentarily and maybe superficially, some independence. So this is material world. So when you speak of material world, there is contamination, because tamagun is there, rajagun is there. The soul is not. The soul has the same. The same potentiality in Krishna. See, when Krishna comes to material realm, so-called, what is it? Prakritim svam adhishtaya sambhavamat nyamayaya. There's no alteration to his original body. Even he doesn't also come here because the abode, the dham, Chintamani dham, the spiritual, the abode of pure goodness, parasattvam, shuddha sattva, appears, same time. Well, he never leaves that abode, so it has come to this planet. The soul has the same quality, shuddha sattva, same as Krishna, and the body of the soul, because there's a body to the soul. Is that correct? No, there's a body also. Prabhupada emphasized we are not the body, but at least we're not this body. But some body we must be. But just to say that this Krishna, the soul has the same quality, that it is eternally pure, but being very, very small, it means we can be overcome by this Rajagun, Tamagun, and qualities of nature. Then we say impure, we have impurities. 6 enemies: lust, anger, greed. Right? And the soul, as soon as it, as soon as soul turns away from Krishna or get independent mentality a little bit, the result is he acquires 2 bodies, gross body and a subtle body, covering. So, as we know, the process then if we aspire to find our pure state again, which is the original state, and the natural position of soul, simply we have to be in contact with Krishna, no? As much as we can, and for as extended period of time as we can, and with as much intensity as we can, but definitely knowingly or unknowingly, by being in contact with Krishna, Krishna's service, Krishna's devotee, Krishna's form, Krishna's kata, and supreme, and on top of all, Krishna's holy name, there's no doubt we'll become pure and more pure. So here what it says, this, in spite of all this, Krishna, what he does is krita socho. When he wakes up in the morning, he probably, I'm not sure, but he takes baths definitely. Maybe he brushes his teeth. So he puts on tilak. So to show example, Krishna said, I always carry out my duty, even though I have nothing to do. Hare Krishna. So is this a good time to stop, or how do you go far usually? Ten minutes. Can we take comments? Maybe you would like to add something or question? Please.
As soon as you are purified, purification means purification of your heart. That's all. All the dirty things are within our heart. The body dirty things, if you wash once, it is all gone. But it is very difficult to remove the dirty things within the heart. That requires purification. So this process, chanting Hare Krishna, begins from the purification of your heart.
Yes, thank you. You see, thank you, Prabhuji. That was a lecture? Or? Yeah, lecture, no? Thank you. That was said very judicious. See, we have to take care so much to wash. Like we have to take bath every day. We have to clean the room every day. So we can't imagine what kind of contamination we have, in the heart. Because our history in material world is long. Many lives, millions of lives. Prabhupada mentioned our heart at the present time is dark like coal. You know what coal is? Like for barbecue or whatever. This is vegetarian barbecue. It's dark, and everything it touches is made black. Also, you cannot clean it. So yeah, it says very difficult to clean the heart. Thank you. We have accumulated material qualities, and we have a lot of impurities that are there. But we have found, or let's say by some good fortune, we have found the right process. And Prabhupada emphasized here, Chaitudharpanam. It's practically speaking, when we are born in Kali Yuga, that means we are contaminated already. But the holy name in Kali, Kalyadasha Niderajam Asti Eko Mahan Guna. This kirtan, chanting, hearing, has great potencies. Nothing else will do it in Kali Yuga. No? Austerity or studies or charity or sacrifice. No. But this has great purifying potency. It acts rapidly, the holy name. So yeah, if we take wholeheartedly to chanting with all our, determination and effort, then yes, we can hope to become pure, more and more pure. And what is pure consciousness in the end? Means I will do what Krishna tells me. I will act according to Krishna's, instead of according to lust, anger, greed. Is it okay? Prabhuji, you wanna? Yeah, maybe he wants to add something.
Very wonderful class, Prabhuji. It's very inspiring. What should be the practice or exercise in a life of sadhaka to really get the taste of 10th canto?
Oh yeah. Thank you for asking, Prabhu. Thank you. It's a nice question. I'll tell you what I understand, if you allow, from the Nectar of Devotion. Or is it, one second. Yeah, from the Nectar of Devotion, it said, Prabhupada has mentioned, Rupa Goswami, these pastimes of the Vrajavasis, they cannot be understood. Sorry, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, okay? I can find later the reference. By, again, great religiosity, austerity, purification, sacrifices, charity. No, that won't give us entrance to understand this pastime. He says, but one who's chanting holy name in ecstasy, then these pastime will reveal their meaning in his heart. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, at the present time, the Leelas of Krishna are a very great perplexity for us. You know what perplexity means? It means something not clear or perplexing, you know? We might not know what it means, or what is, like you're saying, the taste we also may not get. He said, but once a person, sadaka, becomes spontaneously attracted to chanting, to holy name, like in chanting, he reaches the platform of attraction to name, that he wants to chant and chant more, and it's not, like it becomes attracted. He said, then automatically the pastime will be understood by that process. So the chanting, right? I guess that's what I want to say, but Prabhupada explained it's like sequence, Krishna reveals to the fortunate souls first his name, and after, what is it? Rupa, his form. And after his form, the quality. And after, the lila is the last. So I want to suggest, Prabhuji, if you can say what you feel, but unless we take wholeheartedly shelter of sankirtan, of chanting and congregational chanting, like concentrated kirtan in a group is very powerful, then the affinity for the pastime may not occur. So, is that helping or no? I think through kirtan first, then that will can enter in our heart by Krishna's will. But is it okay?
Yeah, but sometimes we make excuses that, hey, kirtan is only the thing I want to do. Forget all the things because kirtan will purify me. Let me sit in the temple hall and chant 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And we excuse us. Okay, we talk a lot about these things, right, between me and you. So we don't want to go that way. We can talk later, but people make excuses also. So we can't give excuses to the people who work hard. You want to chant? You can chant after working hard also.
After?
Of working hard. But for example, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was saying that the disciples that, okay, you have to chant 64 rounds, but you have to go for a preaching, and whatever time left after 10 o'clock, you can do your kirtan, the personal bhajan.
Yeah.
So it also depends on adhikar, whether the person is qualified to sit over and chant 24 hours, or he has to.
Yeah.
Initially, what I understand, Prabhu, you can correct me, Subhakrit Prabhu or Surimada Prabhu or Mataji. Initially, when Sadaka joined the process, he has to learn to make work hard like a dog. There is no way out.
Okay, yes, definitely. Now, the first question then is, how can we chant with a taste? Unless there is service, like you say, substantial service and sincere service to Sri Guru, and then the taste for name also may not come. So it's hand in hand, but makes sense. But thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Guru Krishna Kripa Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. Guru and Krishna's mercy only one can advance in spiritual life. So the Guru gives instructions to the scriptures, and the whole process of Krishna consciousness, the morning program, Guru Puja, Darshanarti, chanting of Hare Krishna, and doing service, totally absorption in this. So this all process of purification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So unless we are not firm in that thing, if preaching is good, but preaching also, they say, Je kare achar na kare prachar, je kare prachar na kare achar. One who preaches, he doesn't practice, and one who practices, he doesn't preaches. Both should go simultaneously. So it's not so cheap like to become a representative of God. It's not an ordinary thing like You need a lot of purification, a lot of tapasya. So, a lot of mercy of Guru and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. You're setting things straight. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Hare Krishna. I don't think I'm qualified to say anything. But I would say that from life after life, I think we are always thinking that we are this body. Always think like that. And whatever activities we perform based always on the satisfaction of this body. So the soul, so the three stages are there. Deha Bhuta, the person always think about his body, is Deha Bhuta. Then he comes to the next platform as Jiva Bhuta, and then he goes to the next stage as a Brahma Bhuta. So this stage is the way we purify ourselves by chanting, hearing, doing service. We from one stage to the next stage we go on and on and on. The ultimate stage, as Krishna says in the 18th chapter, the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kankshati. So that stage, one doesn't belong to this material world. It doesn't belong to these three modes of nature. He goes beyond that three modes of nature. He goes beyond this material body. He goes beyond these possessions of this material world's things, and then just remain as a always servant of his gurus, servant of the parampara. And his focus is always how to serve the paramparas. Just like Prabhupada has done, and all his disciples are doing the same thing. Not go immediately, okay, I'm a servant of Krishna, so I just service there. No. We always focused on how to serve the acharyas and gurus, and how to serve the parampara system and the sampradaya which we are in. That's the focus. We come from morning to the evening, that has to be a focus. How to serve, how to push this movement, as Prabhupada says, push this movement so the others can benefit. Because they are all sons and daughters of Krishna. They are all suffering in this material world. And everybody has to come from Deha Bhuta to Jiva Bhuta to the Brahma Bhuta. Unless he comes to that platform, he is not going to be liberated from this world. So this is a very serious business, very sincere business. And if you are not attentive and then sincere and then steadfasting, that this has to be done. There is no ifs and buts. No go this way or no go on this side. Just focus on one thing. Then maybe this life or maybe next life we might achieve the goal. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you very much.
You ready? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In this particular purport, there was mentioned that Krishna's purification was to be through a reasoning process. Through reasoning.
Reasoning, yeah.
That was the explanation. So it seems that there's also the component of intelligence in the whole equation of purification. So I'm just commenting.
There's a compound, you said?
Of using the intelligence as being part of the purification process. It would seem, based on the purport.
Let's say, intelligence means we can discriminate in what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Here Krishna, he said, he was relieving himself of his fault, thinking that, Kamsa is a very bad person, and if I kill him, there will be no reaction, or, this is Krishna. I should, what do you say? Unknowingly, if I make mistake also, I will get the contamination, even if I reason differently. Does it make sense? Like Prabhupada says, material world is like a fire. That means you get burnt, whether you understand or no, right? So by intelligence we can understand and adopt the process by which we can be purified, but simply by reasoning, that the heart may stay the same, unless we undergo the process of purification, which means, Prabhuji was saying, following the Acharya's direction and sacrificing ourselves, so even someone is not very intelligent and cannot understand subtleties of philosophy, definitely can get purified, so is that okay, or okay, thank you. Is it okay, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna, thank you. Huh? Okay. Well, I want to thank you first to give me this little service today. Thank you very much. Sorry? Yeah, I'm just Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.